Hello, welcome, namaste. My name is Katie, and today we'll do a series on softening our hamstrings. So first things first, I'll go over some of the props that maybe will be useful in your body to use as well. I am sitting on a blanket or maybe a small pillow. That will help our hip points face down a little more, creating length in our spine. I also have a strap, or you could use just a plain towel as well, and that can help us wrap around our legs, bringing a movement closer to our body in flexation. I also have my trusty blocks. I always have them in my practice, and I'm also going to incorporate a chair as well today, just to bring the ground further up closer to us to make some postures more accessible. So today we'll begin just by a quiet moment, and then we'll start by laying down on our mats. And as always, we'll end our practice with a few moments in Shavasana just to allow the practice to fully integrate. So when you're ready, please come to a comfortable seat, whether that's on a block, blankets, your mat, wherever you find comfortable. Sit on in. Maybe your gaze is softened. Maybe your eyes are closed. And just start to notice the feel of the support underneath your bottom. Maybe using the next few in-breaths to lengthen your spine. Maybe make adjustments to your seat. Finding a posture that you can comfortably be with just for a few moments. Start to turn your attention inward to your breath. Feel as your body and your belly expands with your in-breath, allowing your crown to lengthen. Your exhale, allowing your navel to draw inward, rooting you into the ground beneath you while maintaining that length in your spine. Just take these moments here to recognize that you've set this time aside to practice just for yourself in any way that your container needs. If it's helpful, maybe one hand in your heart center, one hand on your abdomen. Feeling the expand of your inhale and the release of your exhale. If you wish, you can set an intention for today's practice, even if it's just a little spark of gratitude for this moment that you're taking. And carry that intention with you during this practice, letting it fill your whole being. When you're ready, bring your awareness back to the space you're in. Maybe noticing some external things, the temperature of the room, feeling of the clothes on your body. When you're ready, if your gaze was softened, become aware visually of the area around you. If your eyes were closed, flutter them open. And we can begin. So we'll start with lying on our backs, and we'll keep all of our props handy. And we'll just come with our bottoms in the middle of the mat and our feet out in front of us, knees bent, hands on bent knees. And we'll just take an easeful way down towards the mat, allowing each vertebrae to slowly sink in, meeting the mat where it is, feeling the ground supporting all of the parts that are on the mat. And from here we can walk our soles of our feet as close to our bottom as comfortable. And we'll start by crossing our right leg over our left knee. And I'm going to incorporate some of my props over yonder. So we'll start by opening up the outside of our hips. So we have our right leg crossed. We'll flex our toes towards our shins. And if this is enough of a stretch, stay here. If you wish, bring in your left thigh to where you're feeling some sensation. And this is where we can utilize our strap or our towel. If we wish not to grab fully around the back of our thigh, use that prop and just find a sensation you can breathe into. Making sure that we're keeping our face and jaw softened. Our shoulders are away from our ears. Maybe after sitting with that sensation a few breaths, we can draw in our towel or our strap, or if our hands are wrapped behind our left thigh, we can pull in slightly. For a deeper stretch, you can use your right elbow on the inside of your right thigh. Pulling in on the left thigh, we can push out with the right thigh. This is a lying down figure 4. A great hip opener, and this is a great alternative to pigeon prep or pigeon pose. After about 10 breaths, we'll release our left, release our right, and keeping maybe our hips on our hands on our belly, we can slowly windshield wiper our knees, just to kind of settle our pelvis back down into neutral on the mat. Walking our feet back where we feel comfortable. We'll do the same with the left. Crossing left foot over right ankle. Drawing in, finding our sensation. Maybe clasping hands behind our thigh, or using a strap or towel. Finding that depth that your body is asking you to go, but not asking your body to go any deeper. Maybe after after a few breaths, we can find some softness in that hip. Last round of breaths here. And we'll release that down. Take that windshield wiper move once more. And we're just awakening our legs. We'll walk our heels back towards our bottom. And I'm going to use my strap for this one. We're going to flex our thigh towards our body. And this is where we want to flex our right foot, pointing our heel towards the sky. Maybe we want to clasp our hands around the back of our thigh, or we can use a strap. And we just want to begin to straighten and then release. Maintaining a good connection of the mat and the lower back. And just work with your breath. Inhale, extending out. Exhale to relax. If you wish, maybe walking your hands up. Just awakening the back of that leg. We'll do 2 more here. Now, keep our left foot bent. We'll come into a half happy baby. So if you wish, we can take the outside blade of our foot or utilize a strap or a towel. And we'll move our knee so we're bending it towards our right elbow. And just opening up there. Stretching and bending, moving our knee towards our armpit and our elbow. Lengthening our heel towards the ceiling. I'm going to do about 5 on this side. 2 more. Last one. And then we'll lower that down. A few windshield wipers here. We'll do the same on the other side. Making sure right foot is bent and planted. We'll either take our strap or a towel or clasp our hands behind the back of our left thigh. Drawing in our left thigh towards our torso and our heart. Lengthening our heel towards the sky. We'll extend our leg. Allowing it to relax. Inhale, extending. Exhale, allowing it to relax. We'll do about 2 more here. Pulling it in. If you wish, you can travel your hands up to your calves, whatever is accessible to you. And next we'll move to taking a hold of the outside edge of the foot or utilizing that strap. Extending out, we'll draw that knee towards our left armpit, opening up that hip a little bit into that half happy baby, extending it up. Half happy baby. Just feel into where that sensation is for you. Just kind of crest the sensation, allowing it to happen, but not allowing it to take over. And do one more here. Our props out of the way, a few windshield wipers. Drawing our knees into our chest, maybe some circles with our knees. A couple options here. We can start to curl in and roll on our spine. The goal is to roll up to seated, or just make your way to a seat. And we'll come here to tabletop next. If having just the mat on hard ground is a little too uncomfortable on knees, you can always use your blanket or your towel underneath. Protect your knees a bit. Same with wrists. Maybe make a fist and come on knuckles. So the goal here is to have knees under hips and wrists and hands under shoulders. We'll take a few cat-cows here. So on your next inhale, we'll allow our belly to soften towards the earth as our tailbone curls back. Our heart shines forward, our crown reaches back. Exhale, press into the earth. Hands and knees go opposite each other, pressing heart center towards the sky. Tailbone and chin drop. Feel into your body, how that feels for you. Working with your breath. And I did about 3 rounds. I'll come back into that flat table, drawing in my belly button towards my spine and the bottom ribs. I'll extend my right leg out and curl my toes. We're kind of in a running start. Keeping our toes curled, we'll press back with our hands and just feel a slight stretch in our calves and our hamstrings. About 3 breaths here, then we'll draw our knee back in to starting point and extend left out. Really curling those toes. And do that once more on each side. Extending out, tucking toes. Maybe we can press back a little more. Keeping hips up and neutral to the front of the mat. Three breaths and then return. Left extends out. I'm going to take a moment to move my props out of the way but within reach. And we're going to come into one of 2 downward facing dogs of this mini series. So from our neutral table, we'll take our hands 1 handprint out in front of us. We'll curl our toes, lift our knees, press back, lift our hips, and we're keeping a generous bend in our knees here. Our hands are shoulder width apart, gripping the mat, keeping our hip points and our tailbone facing, if we're in a room, the corner where the ceiling and the upper wall meet. Pressing into that, keeping our knees bent. Then we can see what it feels like to lengthen one heel and then the other. I'll move my props out of the way here so you can see. And just allowing for that sensation. I'm going to keep my knees bent here in this downward facing dog. Look at the space between my hands. I'm going to travel to the top of my mat, keeping my knees bent. I'm going to go slightly back here. Hands on the shins with a medium bend in my knees. I'm going to exhale and forward fold. Now I'll bend my knees even deeper, allowing my sits bones to go towards the back of the mat, gaining that flat back. I'm going to clasp each elbow with opposite hands, allowing my neck, my upper torso, my shoulders to drip forward towards the earth, shifting weight towards the balls of the feet. Allow Earth's gravity to do its work here. Releasing elbows, hands can come to the mat or to the blocks. We're going to soften our knees. Inhale, we'll rise, arms up to the sky. Exhale down by hip points for Tadasana. And realign our feet here so they're hip distance apart. Just kind of pick up your toes, come up on your heels, roll your weight to the outer edges of your feet and then to the inner edges. Kind of doing some circles here, finding your footing on all corners of your feet. Rolling shoulders back. We'll put a soften in our knees, a slight bend in our knees. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we're going to come forward. Slowly, carefully, sending our sits bones back towards the end of our mat. And I'm going to use the chair for this one. So my hands are going to come on the chair, up on blocks, or up on our shins. We're going to gain that flat back, keeping your knees bent if you wish. We'll reach for that flat back like we had in table, and then exhale, forward fold. And again here, you can slowly play with the pedaling motion that we did in downward facing dog. I'm finding here with the chair as well, I'm getting a shoulder and slight chest opening. So it might be really helpful to utilize. With your next inhale, we'll come back into that halfway lift. And exhale, we're gonna forward fold. Again, keeping your knees bent as much as you need, straighten them as much as you can. Rooting down in all four of those corners of your feet. Feeling in any sensation. Inhale for that halfway lift. And exhale, we'll forward fold once more. Maybe leaning some of our weight towards the balls of our feet. Still rooting down in heels. Soften knees, inhale, arms up. Exhale, Tadasana. One round of breaths here. With your inhale, we'll lift upright and send it back into a crescent. Always, we can check our alignment and even utilize our chair here. So, I'm going to bring the chair a little closer. We're coming into a high lunge. So what we want to look for here is our thigh is more or less parallel to the earth. Our knee is tracked over our ankle, but not going beyond. Our knee is also tracking towards the outside edge of our ankle and not dipping inward, keeping everything in line. We're going to wiggle our back toes so our heel is vertical, hips neutral to the front of the mat. Hands on hips for now. Inhale, let's roll our shoulders, heart shining up a bit. Feeling what that feels like in our back leg. Keeping everything energetically squeezing in towards the midline, including our two thighs. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, we'll fold. Either to the chair or to your blocks or to the mat. Look down at your back heel, and now we'll drop our back heel so you have heel to heel alignment. So one line from top heel to back heel. We'll continue to keep that 90-degree bend in our front knee. Now we're in warrior one footing. Inhale, we'll rise. Saguaro cactus, our arms with our exhale, drawing our shoulder blades down alongside our spine. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms to hips. Getting heavy in that back foot as well as letting that left leg do some work. Finding that balance. On your next inhale, arms raise up once more. Exhale, we'll fold. Either to our chair or to our blocks. Finding some good grounding with our props or wherever we've placed our hands. On your next exhale, we'll straighten that front leg as much as comfortable and makes sense to your body. Pressing down into that left big toe. Inhale, finding length. Exhale, softening forward wherever it's comfortable for you. Last round of breaths here. We'll rebend that front knee. Move any props out of the way. Frame that front foot if that's accessible to you. Hopping up on that back heel. We're going to send our feet back into downward facing dog. Again, knees bent here. Really reaching and stretching with our arms. Pedaling our heels, lengthening them towards the mat. Looking at the space at the top of the mat. We'll travel there. Inhale for our halfway lift using any props that are easeful. And exhale, we'll fold in. Softening knees, inhale, rise. Exhale, hands to hips, Tadasana. With our inhale, we'll step back, utilizing any props into that high lunge. Finding our footing, maybe widening or shortening our stance. I'm wiggling my foot back so my heel is vertical, sinking into the pose. Making sure our knees are in line, keeping them safe. Feeling an opening in our hip flexors in our left leg. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, cactus, squeezing down along our spine. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. We'll fold, frame that front foot on your props while we're looking at our back heel. We'll drop it into that warrior one alignment, heel to heel. Finding our footing, finding our strength and grounding as we pull into the midline. Inhale, we'll rise for Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. And take some swirl arms if you wish. Lifting heart up for a slight back bend. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we're going to fold over that bent knee. Finding which props are easeful for our body. If you're using yoga blocks, placing them alongside our ankles. Inhale, we'll lengthen. Exhale, we'll extend our right leg. Maintaining that long spine, lengthening our collarbone towards the front of the mat. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold from the hip crease until you find that moment of sensation that you can breathe into. Really pressing down in that right big toe. Finding a softness in your face. Tracking our right hip towards the back of the mat, pulling our left hip forward. Placing our prop friends out of the way as we rebend our front knee. I did mention there's only 2 downward facing dogs, but that was a trick. We're gonna do 3. Hopping up on that back heel, front meets back. Pressing on back to downward facing dog.
And now, just noticing where our body is at. Noticing this downward facing dog compared to the first one. And coming to that without any judgment, just awareness. When you're ready, we'll drop to our knees and swinging our feet out in front of us. It might be helpful to reintroduce our blanket back towards us so we can sit with our bottoms on the blanket, outstretching our legs extended out in front of us, shoulders over hips, rolling shoulders back, staff pose. And if you wish, you may utilize a strap or a towel here. And our goal here is to maintain that flat back, leading with the heart, the collarbone towards our feet, and not immediately curling in and rounding. Pressing our heels out and towards the front of the mat, pulling our big toes towards our shins. Inhale, lifting with heart, and exhale, folding forward, finding your edge. And maybe softening down into it, pulling belly up and in, protecting that low back. Inhale will bring you up. Since we're still on our prop, we can take the soles of our feet together, coming in for Baddha Konasana. If you'd like to do this reclined as well, allowing the knees to drop to the outside edge. It might be helpful to also utilize blocks here on any level, allowing your knees to fall open but also be supported. If my blocks want to cooperate, there we go. Spine grows long. When you're ready, we will bring our thighs back together, keeping any props you'd like to use in a short Shavasana. Send our sits bones towards the middle of the mat. Roll on back, just like we did in the beginning. I'll invite you to draw both your knees in towards your torso. Both hands wrapping around left knee. We'll outstretch our right foot towards the right corner of the mat, reaching long. And we'll do the same to the left, reaching long there. Allow your hands to come one on heart center, one on belly, palms open by your hips or palms down. I do invite you to soften your gaze or close your eyes. Feeling your body sinking into the mat. Feeling your eyebrows soften. Forehead, cheekbones, unclenching jaw, shoulders falling away from ears, chest opening and sinking, arms and torso becoming heavy where they lay. Sits bones and bottoms rooting into a place of support. Legs are heavy and relaxed. Feet softened. Allow these next few moments to integrate this practice, Shavasana. Start to bring your awareness back into the space you're in. Taking as much time as you need, there's no rush. Finding any small movements, any small awakenings, maybe a swallow, a wiggle of fingers and toes, fluttering of eyes, making yourself available to the here and now. In your own time, rolling to whichever side is comfortable. ready, slowly pressing yourself back up to a seated position. Thank you for joining me in this practice today. I hope that your hamstrings are happy. Thank you. Namaste.